Imagine boarding a flight after closing a billion-dollar deal, dressed in elegance. Dignity in your posture, power in your name, only to be told by a stranger that you don't belong in your own first-class seat because of the color of your skin. What happens next doesn't just rock the cabinet grounds the entire flight. This is the shocking, inspiring, and jaw-dropping story of justice, identity, and power reclaimed. Don't miss a single second of this explosive tale that had passengers gasping and the world watching. And if this hits your heart, subscribe now for more powerful stories that challenge prejudice, expose truth, and uplift voices that refuse to be silenced. It was supposed to be a smooth ride home. Camille Bennett, a 42-year-old powerhouse and the CEO of a major tech conglomerate headquartered in Atlanta, had just signed a merger that would put her company on the global map. The business world knew her name, and Forbes had listed her among the top 10 women redefining leadership in tech. Yet none of those accolades seemed to matter when she approached her first class. Seat 2, Aeon Flight 717 from JFK to LAX, clad in a navy blue tailored pantsuit with subtle gold accents. Heels clicking like a rhythmic declaration of confidence, Camille rolled her Louis Vuitton carry-on into the cabin. She nodded politely to the stewardess and turned toward her seat, only to find a well-dressed white man already settled in it. He looked up briefly from his phone, scoffed, then returned to texting. "Excuse me," Camille said calmly, holding up her boarding pass. "I believe you're in my seat." The man didn't move. "No, I'm pretty sure this is mine," he said curtly, glancing at her, then quickly away. Camille didn't waver. "It says to adhere on my ticket." He gave a smirk. "Well, maybe they messed up." "You sure you're in first class?" Words hung heavy in the air, like fog on a battlefield. Camille's jaw clenched. "Yes, I'm sure." A flight attendant approached, sensing the rising tension. Camille handed over her boarding pass, and the attendant's eyes widened just slightly before regaining composure. "Yes, sir," she said to the man. "You're actually in for C." His face reddened. "I was told I could sit wherever, fly this airline all the time. She can switch with me." Camille crossed her arms. "I'm not switching. It's just a seat," he muttered, refusing to move. "She can sit somewhere else." What followed would shake the entire cabin. A black woman executive being told implicitly and explicitly that her paid seat wasn't hers because of who she was. But Camille wasn't backing down, and neither was the truth. What began as an awkward confrontation quickly turned into a viral moment. Passengers started filming. Whispers passed down the aisles like wildfire. "That guy's trying to steal her seat. Isn't she someone famous? She's CEO of something big." The flight attendant radioed for assistance. Minutes later, the cabin manager arrived with a forced smile, trying to de-escalate. "Ma'am, we're trying to avoid delays. Would you mind taking another seat just for now while we sort this out?" Camille's eyes narrowed. "You're asking me to move when I paid for 2A?" The cabin manager hesitated, glancing toward the man in the seat. "He's refusing to comply." "Then he should be removed," Camille replied sharply. "I've flown over 1,000,000 miles with your airline. I'm not being punished for someone else's entitlement." A hush fell over the cabin. The man, now sweating slightly, still refused to budge. "She's making this a race thing," he said loudly, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. "I'm not racist. I just don't see what the big deal is." That's when a middle-aged white woman seated in to B leaned over and said firmly, "The big deal is that you're wrong, and you're being rude. She paid for that seat. Now move." The man ignored her. The captain was called, and Camille calmly, authoritatively pulled out her phone and dialed her attorney. On speaker, "Maya, I'm currently being denied access to my rightful seat on a flight I paid for. Yes, it appears to be racially motivated. Please begin drafting the formal complaint. The cabin went silent. We are not taking off until this is resolved, the captain said. 35 minutes passed. The man still refused to move. Airport security was called in. When they tried to coax him out, he yelled, "I'm being discriminated against. She's pulling some woke stunt." That was the last straw. The pilot made the decision. Ladies and gentlemen, due to a disruptive passenger, this flight has been grounded until further notice. Gasps, groans, fury. Passengers began shouting at the man, "You're making us all late. Tear off." The damn plane. Camille remained poised. "You still think it's just a seat?" she asked him quietly. But he only glared at her, red-faced and fuming. Security escorted him off the flight. He shouted all the way down the aisle, "She's not special. She thinks she's better than everyone." A toddler started crying. A businessman in 3D threw down his magazine. The man was gone. And for a moment, there was an eerie stillness, like everyone was afraid to breathe too loudly. The captain came back on. "We apologize for the delay. We will be taking off shortly." Camille sat in Tua. She didn't cry. She didn't fume. She simply opened her laptop and resumed reading the merger brief for a company that had just agreed to a $2.7 billion valuation, her company. As the plane finally taxied down the runway, the woman in 2B leaned in. "I know who you are now. Camille Bennett, right?" Camille nodded. "I saw your interview with CNBC. You're incredible." "Thank you for standing your ground." Camille offered a soft smile. "If we don't, who will?" By the time the plane landed in Lax, the story had already gone viral. One of the passengers had uploaded the entire confrontation to TikTok. The clip racked up over 8 million views within 24 hours. The hashtag seat for Camille was trending. The airline issued a public apology. The man, identified as a hedge fund analyst with a history of online controversies. He was swiftly fired after his company disavowed his behavior. News outlets picked up the story. BlackCEO denied seat she paid for. Airline drama sparks national conversation on racism in travel. Camille was invited to speak on The View, Good Morning America, and CNN. Her message was powerful. This wasn't just about a seat. It was about dignity, about being seen, heard, and respected in every space we've earned. But the true twist came when the airline's board reached out to Camille privately. Not only did they offer a settlement, but they proposed a partnership to review and reform their day practices and customer service training. Camille negotiated a deal not for herself, but to fund travel equity scholarships for young Black professionals, trying to break into industries where they were still underrepresented. Months later, she boarded another flight, first class again. Same seat, 2A. This time, no one questioned her place. A flight attendant, eyes shining with recognition, whispered, "Thank you for what you did." Camille simply nodded, placed her phone on airplane mode, and looked out the window. She knew her value. And now the world did too.